since I've talked some sports and this week in the world of sports. Well, how about this? This month in the world of sports. Well, November was a good month. So was October. We saw the return of Georges Rush St. Pierre in mixed martial arts. Boy, did he put on a show or what? He looked awesome, folks. He looked like the old GSP, coming back from one of the most serious injuries in all of sports. As far as I'm concerned, it's one of the more devastating injuries you'll ever see. And then, to begin the month, we saw the biggest deal in years for the Toronto Blue Jays when they managed to pull off a mega blockbuster deal with the Miami Marlins of Florida. And when you look at this deal, I mean, the players in this deal is just gigantic. The Blue Jays give away about 5 top prospects. No big prospect, but they gave up 5 of their top prospects in their farm system and players that they play on their current team. You know, you look at players such as Anderson Hernandez. Who else did they give up in this? They give up the shortstop, the troublemaker Yonel Escobar. They give up Henteria and his Henteria. And they give up a few other. Destroni, I think he's a good pitcher. He's going to be an up-and-coming star. They give up a talented young outfielder, the Blue Jays. And then what did they get in return? They got themselves some really good talent. John Buck, former Blue Jay, bring him back. A veteran catcher that is one of the better signal callers in Major League Baseball. Then they bring in Jose Reyes, former National League batting champion. And you know what? He didn't have the greatest year last year for the Miami Marlins, but you know, when you look at that team was totally in disarray. When you look at Carlos Zambrano, you look at Mark Burley, wasn't the greatest year he's ever had. Josh Johnson had an okay year. He's been still dealing with injuries. And those are the other players who are in this deal. I mean, you look at Mark Burley, a former All-Star, who's throwing a no-hitter. You know, he's won, 16, 15 games in his career. Burley, you know, he's had some complaints after this deal was made. You know, because you look at that Marlins management, you look at the ownership, where they said they weren't going to trade these guys, and what did they do? They find some way to trade them. So it's never good. When you make a huge deal like this, you're saying to your fans that you don't really care, and I just don't feel they cared at all. And when it comes to baseball, you know, you got to care about your players. You got to care about your community. You got to care about your season ticket holders. You know, it's just like in every professional sport. You look at the Toronto Argonauts. I want to say a shout out to them. Congratulations on winning the Grey Cup. I think football is back in Toronto. No more Leafs. That's a Leaf Nation. I mean, it's all about Toronto Maple Leafs and the Raptors, you know, and the Blue Jays. But, you know, Toronto Argonauts are starting to take over that market of Ontario. They really are. They had a very good showing at the Grey Cup in terms of TV ratings, in terms of people filling up the arena. 50,000 people watching the Grey Cup live. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, I was watching a little bit of the highlights. I didn't see it live, but I saw the last 2 quarters of the game. It was a good game between them and Calgary. I mean, Calgary put up a fight, but it just wasn't enough. Sometimes in life you have to go for it, and that's what the Argonauts did. You know, Ricky Ray just showed his leadership, and Chad Owens, man, he was the MVP of this team, and you know, he broke some records this year of Pinball Clemens, and he's just in pro football history. He's one of the greatest kick returners ever, and you know, he can do it all. You know, Chad Owens is outstanding player of the year for me, and there's a reason he's an MVP. Now we look into, you know, more of the baseball talk, and when you look at that Blue Jay deal, blockbuster that went down, you know, you just don't see those type of deals every day. You know, the Blue Jays managed to get Mark Burley and Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson is another guy that has tons of potential. Here's a guy that can pitch pretty hard. He's had some serious shoulder problems over his career. Lots of surgeries he's had over his arm, but you know, potentially he could win maybe 19, 20 games. You know, you add a Burley, and then you add Johnson to your rotation of Morrow, Romero, and I mean, another pitcher I think they have in their arsenal. So Laffy, I guess, but you know, you look at this, you add more pitching, and you know, in the actually during the season last year, they managed to get some more relievers put in their bullpen. Some of them are free agents now. They've let go of Jason Frazier. They've let go of a few others. Darren Oliver looks like he's deciding to retire or come back, but I think he'll come back for one more year with the Blue Jays. That's what I'm hearing, but we'll see what happens. You know, it is the off season. The winter meetings are today. Actually, not today. I think it's next week. I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think it's for 3 days in Nashville, Tennessee. So we should start hearing some more big deals. I mean, the biggest deal so far I've heard in recent days is B.J. Upton going to the Braves, signing the biggest contract in team history, $75 million over. Take a look at the deal. I think it's around 6 years for $75 million. I mean, that's an awesome deal. I mean, Upton's gonna bring him a new bat in the lineup. I mean, especially with Chipper Jones retiring, I think he's gonna be a very, very important piece for this team. It's just a matter of time before they put it together. I mean, when it comes to baseball, you have to always believe in your ability. And 90% of this game is ability. If you don't have the ability to go out there and do what you got to do to win a ball game, that's what you got to do. I mean, the knock on in Upton's career when he was playing for the Rays was his consistency. You know, he didn't deliver every day. Some days he'd go 3-4 games without a hit. But, you know, he's great defensively. Like his younger brother, Justin, these Upton brothers know how to hit the ball. They hit for power and they hit for average. In terms of RBIs, B.J. Upton has been one of the leaders on the Tampa Bay Rays alongside his former teammate Carlos Pena in terms of RBIs over the last 6 years. When I look at the statistical stat, you know, when you look at a guy that hits an RBI per game, he's pretty consistent. He's not up there with your Miguel Cabrera's, the MVP of the American League. Never mind, one of the better hitters in all Major League Baseball. Mike Trout, young rookie. Another, don't forget, Mike Trout won the Rookie of the Year. Miguel Cabrera won the MVP this year, and he won the Triple Crown. I mean, the first time in, 40-something years, 44, 45 years. So that's pretty amazing. Carlos Shrimps, you try, right? So, I mean, when you're looking at a player in BJ Upson, you're looking at a guy that has the ability to turn it on when he needs to turn it on. The only knock on him is he's inconsistent, but don't worry. You know, it's a good team in Atlanta. They still have a good team. They have Simmons, they have Brian McCann, they got Freddie Freeman, they got Dan Ugla, you know, and they recently just made a blockbuster deal recently, trading off Tommy Hanson. I'm totally surprised by this move by Frank Wren. I didn't expect him to make a move like this. This is kind of bold by Frank Wren, and I didn't see him doing this. That's what happens. Sometimes you got to make a deal that will help your team in the long term. But when it comes to it, folks, you have to always try to improve your team. And Tommy Hanson, over the last few years, he has been dealing with some serious injury problems. When you look at his shoulder, his velocity and his fastball has dipped big time. Watching him play in the recent playoffs for the Braves, he just didn't look right. And that's why the Braves didn't go past the wild card round, you know, because, you know, the pitching wasn't there. Even though they have Tim Hudson and Brandon Beachy, I mean, they still need pitching in Atlanta. Their bullpen's one of the best in the game. So by acquiring Jordan Weldon, I think this is going to be a positive move. Don't get me wrong. I think this is a very positive move for the Atlanta Braves. Acquiring, is it Jordan? Not Jordan. Whatever. Weldon. So acquiring Weldon, a guy that could throw maybe into the high 90s, 95 miles an hour. Former closer for the Angels in 2011. I think he had 32 saves, something like that. In 2012, this wasn't a good year for him. He got demoted into the bullpen. He became a setup man. Just wasn't the same Weldon that we saw in 2011. But you know what? I think this is a good move for the Atlanta Braves, and I think this is a great move for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, because there's been talk and some reports that the Dodgers are going to probably sign Zach Greinke, but don't be surprised if the Red Sox get him. I wouldn't be surprised. Noah Greinke, he's more of a East Coast guy, more of a Midwest guy, and I don't think he really likes California that much, especially the hot weather. And don't forget, this kid's dealing with anxiety problems, so Los Angeles wouldn't be a good fit for him. So don't be surprised to see him end up on the East Coast. And I'm thinking the Red Sox will get him. I don't know how they'll do it. It won't be money. Trust me, it won't be money. I mean, the LA Dodgers could throw him the biggest contract in sports history for a pitcher. But I think it won't be money that will get Zach Greinke. Um, I think he might end up as a Red Sox. Don't be surprised. Or Milwaukee Brewer. I mean, don't forget, he played for the Brewers before, right? And Brewers were willing to spend big money. There's been talk recently in the last few days I've been hearing that Josh Hamilton could be a Brewer. And there's still talk the Red Sox are really going hard after Josh Hamilton, even though they denied all the reports. The same thing with the Baltimore Orioles. Recently, I just found out that they did non-tendered Mark Reynolds. I'm surprised they didn't re-sign this guy. I mean, he was a big reason why they made the playoffs last year. You kidding me? Come on, $11 million. Come on, dude. You got to spend the money, Baltimore. Come on, Daniel K. You're one of the smarter general managers I know in this game. And for you not to bring back Mark Reynolds and maybe bring in Josh Hamilton to be able to compete with the Toronto Blue Jays, never mind the Red Sox and the Yankees, I mean, the Rays are going to probably be left behind because I hear they're going to probably trade off James Shields. There is serious talk the Dodgers are going to go for James Shields if they don't get Zach Greinke. I can definitely tell you. They got top prospects in Los Angeles, and they're willing to ship them to get James Shields if they can't get Zach Greinke. And there is Scott Kazmir. I hear some teams are fishing around about this guy. He's been pitching in winter ball, and he's been doing pretty good. There are some teams out there like the Cleveland Indians. You know, you look at the New York Yankees. No, they still need some pitching. Even though they just recently re-signed Andy Pettitte, I think that's a phenomenal signing. I feel that Andy is going to come back, and he's still going to dominate. And when it comes to Andy Pettitte, it's all about health. You know, he might be in his 40s now, but he's still getting better with age. Just look at Roger Clemens. Even though with all the controversy, Hall of Fame with Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa, you know, these guys in my mind are still Hall of Famers, but I don't think they'll get in this year. You know why? Just because, you know, they did it. You know, they did steroids, and they lied about it. You know, sometimes you got to tell the truth, you know. You don't say, oh, I never did it. You can tell me in court, I never did it. But you know what? In your heart, in your mind, in your soul, people knew they were lying. You know, I know Barry Bonds. He never had to take steroids in his whole entire career. Before he even touched a steroid, he was a Hall of Famer. He was the first player in Major League Baseball history to steal 500 bases and get 500 home runs before he even touched a steroid. He might have not broken Hank Aaron's record without a little bit of help, but as far as I'm concerned, man, Barry Bonds did a lot of good things for Major League Baseball. Eventually, he'll probably get into the Hall of Fame. Same thing for Roger Clemens. Same thing for Sammy Sosa. It might be a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years, before they all get in, because I just don't see them all getting in on the first ballot. My pick for Hall of Famers this year is Craig Biggio. I mean, Craig Biggio hit 3,000 hits in his career. Mike Piazza, the greatest hitting catcher of all time. There's no doubt, he's no brainer. And Curt Schilling, I mean, winning 2 World Series with the Boston Red Sox. I mean, Curt Schilling is one of the baseball's greatest pitchers, and for him not to be in the Hall of Fame is a shame. And plus, he won a World Series with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, he put them on the map with Randy Johnson in 2001 after 9/11. I mean, that was an emotional series for everybody. But let me tell you, Curt Schilling pitched good that season, and he pitched amazing in that World Series. There's a reason why they were co-MVPs after that World Series. And after the Bloody Sock situation in 2004, Schilling is still the man. And he proves it even as a broadcaster. You might not agree with what he has to say. But in my heart of hearts, and as someone I've watched baseball for the last 25 years of my life, since I was a little toddler, that I can tell you, as a 30-year-old, I played this game. I know what it takes to make it in this game. These are the players that should be in the Hall of Fame. Curt Schilling, Mike Piazza, and Craig Biggio. These are all Hall of Famers in my book. Sorry to the others. I mean, they're sure first ballot Hall of Famers if they never touched it. But these other guys didn't do the juice, man. These guys did it naturally. God-given ability. I mean, no help. You know what I mean? No cream. No anabolics. No HGH. I mean, this is just pure... No amphetamines. I mean, did the natural way. I mean, I've heard rumors that other guys are in the Hall of Fame right now, like Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron and stuff. They all took amphetamines. They did. They all took something back then. I heard Heard Ruth took horse steroids because of his weight and stuff like that. But, it is what it is, right? It's the same thing with Clemens. I heard he took some of that stuff too. But I got no proof. But there's talk that they all took something. The whole Hall of Fame. Everyone Hall of Fame took something, man. Trust me. Even cough medication can help you get a home run. Everybody in the sport has taken something, man. So I'll leave it at that. Looks like Philip Humber, the former Chicago White Sox, has signed with the. He was claimed by the Astros. He was non-tendered by the Chicago White Sox. Same thing for Brian Wilson, the famous beard one. Brian Wilson, even though he had Tommy John surgery last season, he missed the whole entire season. He'll be back this year. They non-tendered Brian Wilson. I'm very sad. They should have re-signed him to a big contract because he's a big reason why the San Francisco Giants are relevant nowadays. They're two-time World Series champions. I mean, this guy is a character on and off the field, and he's one of the better personalities in the game. And Brian Wilson is one of the better closers, I think, in baseball. As far as I'm concerned, if he does go to the Dodgers, he said that recently. I was listening on the radio and stuff, and he's talking about he wants to maybe play for the Dodgers. I was just reading it recently. But we'll see what happens. I think he'd be a good fit for them. The Dodgers do need a closer, and I think Brian Wilson will be a perfect fit for them. They'll go with that pretty brilliant rotation they'll probably have with Zach Greinke and Clayton Kershaw. You never know. And Chad Billingsley, they're looking pretty good. They're young, they're strong. As long as they can get some bats in that lineup, especially with Gonzalez and those other guys they picked up like Beckett and Carl Crawford. I mean, these guys going to have to contribute this year big time. The Red Sox completely dumped a major payroll during the regular season and at the trade deadline. We just have to see what happens after that major deal. I mean, James Loney's a free agent now. He was a player that was acquired in the deal and a couple other prospects. So, I mean, what kind of deal is that? And, Nick Punto went to the Dodgers, too, in that deal. No, he's gone from the Dodgers, I hear. So, we'll see what happens. So, now we move on to something that has touched me recently and personally in the movie and TV industry. Larry Hagman, man. J.R. Ewing, man. He recently died from cancer, and he was getting better, but I think something went wrong. And I was reading the National Enquirer recently, and something really did go wrong in the surgery, I think. So, I mean, one of the greatest actors of all time, Larry Hagman. I mean, it's sad to hear one of the greats is gone. It's like Emmanuel Stewart, the former boxing trainer. For like Lennox Lewis and the likes of Roy Jones and Muhammad Ali back in the day, is gone too. So many great people have died this year, folks. It sucks. Michael Clark Duncan, another great actor, died, I think, from a heart attack. I mean, it is unbelievable. Don Cornelius, Soul Train show, Whitney Houston, Georgie from the, what's that show? I forget that show again. But I'll have to. Sherman Hemsley. Yeah, he played George. Yeah. Sherman Hemsley died in the summer. I mean, so many great people have died this year. It sucks, man. It really does. It's like you got to take one day at a time, folks. 1 week at a time. 1 minute at a time. And remember, in the end, just enjoy your lives. Enjoy your family. I mean, Christmas is coming, and I guess some people are in the festive spirit. You know what? Every day for me, I have to be in the festive spirit. I work in retail, so I got to always be in the festive spirit. Because if you always have a smile on your face, you can make someone's day. And that's the most important thing. Just enjoy what you got. Just like sports and everything else. And an NHL update on the CBA negotiations. It looks to me that the mediator didn't work out in this one. After 2 days of discussions between the two sides and the mediators, the federal mediators were appointed to maybe solve this thing once and for all. Didn't work out. But Bettman has a good idea, and I think it might work. The owners and the players talk it out. Both Fear and Bettman on the sidelines, and a few other hard lines probably will be on the sidelines. So we'll see what happens next week. I know everyone in Canada and, around the world want to see some hockey. I know especially in Canada, they're missing their Leafs, they're missing their Senators, their Canucks, their Edmonton Oilers, their Flames. and Montreal Canadiens. I mean, you're all missing your hockey. I'm just like you. I'm missing hockey too. And we'll see if we can get a season going. I think maybe January we get a season going. I think it will be a 50 or 48 game season. I don't know. We'll see what happens. You never know. Maybe Gary Bettman and the owners have a rabbit up their sleeves. Same thing with the players. Maybe, just maybe, the owners might back off on a 53-50 deal for the players for the first 2 years of the deal. So we'll see what happens. You never know. I've always seen miracles. It's like at the NBA one last year. It went down to the wire. I heard rumors that they were going to definitely decertify, but they didn't. So if the NHL players decertify, it's going to be chaos. It could wipe out the season, or it could get the season up and running because they can file to a judge and they can lift the lockout immediately, and we can get hockey going again. But it's a double-edged sword. I just think they're going to keep talking and try to get 2 more major proposals, and I think the owners will accept the next proposal by the players, and the players will accept the proposal by the owners. So I think it's going to come down to the wire. 11th hour deal. I've been hearing from Eklund, Hockey Buzz, and been checking out SpectraHockey.com and TSN and Sportsnet. I just feel in my heart that just watch. It's going to come. The deal could happen this month of December, maybe late December, and we could get a season going by January, and it'd be cool. You know, we need a season, even if it's a shortened season. We got no All-Star game, we got no Winter Classic, we got nothing. All we got is the season and playoffs, and I think the players want to play, the owners want to make money, and the fans want to see their heroes on the ice, and, you know, get their money's worth. I mean, they're diehard fans. They're so bored right now. I think they're getting tired of all these AHL games, but the AHL games have been good. The junior games have been really good, Giants and all that, and you know, it's been cool. I mean, UFC's been awesome, good alternative. You know, CFL's done an amazing job, but we all miss our hockey, and I think it's coming back. Just be positive, folks. Thanks for watching this month in the world of sports. For December the 1st, 2012, I'll be back again, folks, for a more winter meeting. It's starting up on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'll do a video a day. We'll keep track of the winter meetings on MLB trade rumors. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the future. You never know. Anything's possible if you put your mind to it. Peace.